Welcome back everyone. The beautiful iPad mini 6 just came out. So let's go and do kind of a simple walkthrough of this specific device and essentially how to use this iPad mini 6. Now we're going to start off with the outside. Now if you're holding it, typically Apple kind of situated this new iPad mini to pretty much be landscape mode. So the power button may be on the left side or the right side depending on how you're looking at this. Let's just look at the front for example. You now have this beautiful panel, no more home button on it. You do have a front facing camera, which may be a little bit hard to see, but if you swipe it to the side, you should be able to see this hole. That is the front facing camera now. Now up top, we now have the speaker grill, which is great compared to the other previous iPad minis. We do have the Touch ID sensor, which is the power button right above the camera, but the volume buttons have been moved right up here. Now, is that a ginormous deal? Not really to me, but some people have actually been, kind of confused where the volume buttons are. They are at the top of your specific iPad. On the back, we do have the standard camera setup right here. We do have nothing here. We do have the USB Type-C port on the bottom with some more speakers down here too, which is really cool. And if you're looking at the iPad like this, the left side of your iPad is essentially where you can go ahead and input your Apple Pencil 2. Now, I don't have an Apple Pencil 2 with me, but this is essentially where you would put it. And that's really pretty much it on the outside. Now, when you first boot up your iPad mini, you're not going to get into this panel. You're probably going to get into that setup panel. So that's a really easy thing to do, and there's a lot of personal information there. So you're going to have to follow that through, and it's a really easy process, believe me. Now, once you go ahead and go through that process, this process is very easy. Now, on your lock screen, you have your time right up here, which is really cool. You have your notifications here. I'm currently on Do Not Disturb mode, which we'll get into in a second. Now, if you swipe to the side, you can get into your camera, which is really cool. It does have a newer camera setup, which is awesome. If you swipe to the side, you can get into your widget panel, which is really cool as well. But if you swipe up, you can come back into your home screen. Now, this is pretty much where you're always going to go when you swipe up. There's no more home button. So let's say we go into an application, let's say the App Store. Swiping up is pretty much how you go home. Now, let's say you have a multiple different applications and different things set up. So let's say we go into our App Store, we can swipe up. Let's say we go into Files, we can swipe up to go home. Let's say we go into Podcasts again, we can swipe up to go home. So that's going home. That essentially acts like a one-click home button. But now let's say we want to get into our multitasking panel. Well, now what we can do is essentially we want to swipe up, but then kind of stop and swipe to the side. That's the easiest way I do it. So I swipe up and I swipe to the side, and that allows us to get into this panel. Now what this is it essentially allows us to go back into the application we just opened. Now we don't always have to go here. We can click on the application we just opened and get back into it. We can always go out of these things, whatever. But essentially you can go ahead and swipe up, just like how I mentioned, kind of swiping up and stopping this way. And you can pick your other applications that you just chose. So we can go into this one, swipe up, go into this one. We can also swipe between apps. So we can go back into the previous application by grabbing the bar at the bottom and swiping to the side. So we can continuously swipe between applications like this. And again, like we mentioned, we can swipe up to go home. And that's really it. That's the main way to do this. Now, at the bottom, you'll see this bar, and this is really cool. This has been with iPadOS for a while, and it allows us to essentially keep this bar at the bottom, and we can click on apps while we go. So if we go and click on the App Store, if we swipe up from the bottom, we can grab into our bar, and we can go ahead and open up Safari while we're at it too. Instead of having to swipe back home, we can go ahead and open it up here, and we can go into Mail, and open up these applications too. And like we mentioned, there is multitasking associated with iPadOS as well. So not every application is associated. So if we go back into Safari and we swipe back up, we can go and grab another application. So let's say we grab the App Store. We can go ahead and grab it and place it on the side of this specific panel like this, drop it down, and now we can get two different sets of this application. So we have Safari on one side, and we have the App Store on the other. Now, this is really awesome. This is essentially the bare bones structure of multitasking and using two different apps. And one of the biggest advantages of using an iPad over an iPhone is this specific thing, in my opinion. And now with the iPad mini, you have a much bigger display. So you can kind of mess with this however you want to. You can grab the thing in the middle and make an application smaller or bigger. And let's say we don't want the App Store here anymore. We can swipe to the side and we can just remove that app altogether and just focus on Safari here. Now, like I mentioned, if you want to go back home, swipe up and we'll come straight back into here. Now, as you can see, you have widgets up here and you have applications here. You can always swipe between these apps. I'm pretty sure everyone knows this by now. If you swipe all the way to the end, you can see we have our new app library. All of our apps will be here. So if we swipe down, we can see every single application on our iPhone. Whether we like it or not, they're all here. If we want to go back out of it, we can go back here and come back home. But also, let's say you're here and you want to go back home, swipe up and you'll come straight into here, swipe up once more, and you can also come home. Now, if you want to remove any of these widgets or apps and you don't like where these all are at, very easy. You simply hold down on a widget or an application and you want to go and click remove stack, remove, and it'll go ahead and remove that widget. If you want to remove an application from your home screen, go ahead and hold down the application, same exact thing, click remove app. Now you can remove the app and you can delete the app. Deleting the app will remove everything from your iPad. Removing the app will just remove it from your home screen. So if we click remove home screen, it doesn't delete the app, it just deletes it from the screen. But like we mentioned, if you come all the way to the end again with your app library and you swipe down, you'll still be able to see that podcast app or whatever it was right there. So I think it was iTunes Store or it was podcast. You'll still be able to see both of them right there. So again, swipe up, and we come straight home. Now within our settings application, this is a pretty big application I think a lot of people need to know about. This is the main app you're going to use. So pretty much whenever you want to update your thing or you want to maneuver through anything with your iPad, this is where you're going to go. So come into your app panel, and up here is where you can go ahead and modify your iCloud settings and everything. Now I'm not going to go through every single little setting, but some of the major ones, your network connections are here. Notifications, do not disturb, screen timer right here. Now on top of that, one area you're probably going to spend a lot of time with is under general. You want to go and click here. You want to click on software update and you want to see if there's any updates available. Now you can see there is an iPadOS 15 update available for me. I'm already on iPadOS 15, so you want to make sure you're on the up-to-date version of your software. So you want to click here. That's where you're essentially going to update your specific software all the time. And there's also dark mode on your iPad mini 6 as well. So by clicking on the display and brightness, you can go ahead and toggle dark mode right here, and you can go ahead and enable that if you want to. Now me personally, I like being on light mode, so that's why I like it here. It looks much better over the camera. And you can go ahead and swipe through and modify these: accessibility, your battery, Apple Pencil 2 support like I mentioned, App Store settings, different FaceTime message, applications as well. But if we swipe down, you'll basically get into your personal applications here. Now I don't have any applications, so let's say we want to download some apps on our specific iPhone. Well, like we mentioned, we swipe up and we can go and make our way over to our App Store. Now again, let's say we want to download the YouTube application, right? We can see that we have YouTube right here, but let's say we don't even see that. We want to go and click on the search bar up here. You want to click on the search bar up here, and let's go ahead and type in YouTube. So just like any other keyboard you've probably ever used in your life, go ahead and type in YouTube like this, and you can go ahead and find the YouTube application and download the specific application to your iPad. Now, it may tell you to sign in your Apple ID or something like that. Sometimes it doesn't, as you can see, and it'll go ahead and download this specific application. But at the same time, let's say you wanted to update an application on your iPad. Well, the process is very easy as well. Once we have it downloaded, we can go back once more, or we don't have to click there. We can just go back here. We want to go and click on the top right where our little profile icon is. Click here, go and click on purchased, go and click on my purchases. And sometimes there may be a little update panel alongside some of these iPad apps. So you can see really none of them are here, but sometimes if you see update or if there's any other apps when you search through when you see update, you can also update the apps that way too. That's another very popular thing as well, and something you should probably do often. Now swiping out of here, like we mentioned before, we have these widgets and everything, but let's say we want to add a new set of widgets to our iPad. Well, in order to do this, like we mentioned, we can swipe to the side and we will see all the widgets that we have. So in order to add widgets on our home screen, all we have to do is hold down on our app panel like this, and we want to click on the plus button on the top left. Now we can go ahead and add these widgets as we want. So let's say we want to add our battery percentage widget. Well, we can go ahead and click here on batteries. We can swipe through, and you can see there's tons of different widgets that we can choose from. So let's just say we want this one. We go and click add widget, and you can see the widget does get added right there. To get out of this panel, you swipe up, and you're specifically done with adding widgets. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is pretty much how to screenshot on your iPad mini 6. It's a very easy process. There's a couple different ways to do it. I haven't even done it yet on this iPad, so let me make sure it's the same process. And it is. So pretty much what we do is you want to locate where your power button is on your iPad. So you can see for me the power button is here, but it is that little button on the side. Like I mentioned before, here's the button and here are the volume down buttons. They are right next to where that front facing camera is. Then what you want to do is you want to hold the power button and the volume up button at the same time. So it is a little bit of a process and it's a little bit different because, depending on the orientation of your iPhone or iPad. So again, hold the power button and the, volume up button until you see this little thing. And that pretty much indicates that you took a screenshot. Now you can also open up that screenshot by clicking on that little, application thing right there. You can go ahead and crop down this specific, screenshot however you want to. You can draw on it too by clicking on this little markup tool right here. So we can click on it once more and we can go ahead and draw on this and do whatever we want to with this specific application. But whenever you're done, you can go and click down right here, click Save to Photos, and this will go ahead and get saved straight into your photo gallery. Now, where is your photo gallery? Well, instead of you going through and trying to search for it and go through all of this stuff, what we can always do is we can swipe down from our specific home screen and we can actually get into Spotlight Search. Now, what this is it essentially allows you to search through not only your specific device and apps and stuff, but also Safari and Google search, suggestions and all this stuff. So in this case, we want to open up our Photos app. So we can start typing out photos, but even before we're done, we can see that we already see the Photos application right here. So we can go ahead and tap on that and we can come straight into our Photos application. So now what we can do is we want to go ahead and find that screenshot that we just did. So in order to do this, we want to go and click on, albums or whatever it is. In this specific case, we're going to go and click on library, or we can go and click on recents. And you can see we do have that specific, screenshot that we just made right here, which is really awesome. Now swiping up once more, we can go and screen record on our iPad as well, which is very easy. We want to make our way back into our settings application. We want to go and click on Control Center, which is right here. We want to go and swipe down until we see screen recording, which is right here. And we want to add that screen recording toggle to our specific application in our Control Center. Now, where is your Control Center? Well, on the top right, wherever you are on your iPad, wherever the battery and daytime and all that stuff is, you want to swipe down on that specific side and you'll get into your Control Center. Now here you can modify your brightness, you can modify your sound right here, the indicators, you can turn on or off your Bluetooth and all these cellular connections. But at the bottom we have our little toggles that we just, added. So right here, this is the screen recording toggle. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and tap on that screen recording toggle. It's going to count down from 3. Now we're at 1. And once this is red and indicating right here, this is screen recording whatever we're doing. So now whenever we're ready, we can go ahead and stop the screen recording by clicking on the top right, clicking stop. And now, just like we mentioned before, this is going to get saved straight into our Photos gallery. So now what we can do is now we know where the Photos app is. We can go and click on it and we can swipe to the side. And this is that screen recording that we just made. So that's exactly how you can screen record on your iPad as well. And you can share this out however you want to by clicking on this little image. You can go ahead and click on that little share icon, which is on the top right. And then you can airdrop it to somebody, iMessage to somebody, mail it to somebody, or notes it if you want to. And again, like we always mention, we can swipe up and we can just come back home if we want to. So that's pretty much it. That's a beginner's guide of how to use your iPad mini 6. Again, this doesn't cover every single little thing, but all these high level things, you pretty much have a good idea, and you should probably be a pretty decent expert of an iPad mini 6 by now. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.